Welcome, guys, to Across the Great Iron. And you may have seen that I completely botched this thing the last time that I tried to go off on live stream. I saw one or two guys come on here, and I'm sure they couldn't hear a thing. I couldn't hear a thing. I didn't know that my audio wasn't working, and I went on for a whole 20 something minutes, just talking to myself. And I can't even listen to it to even hear what I said. So, I mean, it was my first time going on live stream, and yes, I completely, got that wrong. So, hopefully, this time around, I've hit the right button, and everyone can hear all the audio as well. So, like I said, welcome to Across the Grid Iron. This is week 11, my week 11 prediction of the NFL. And as you can tell, I'm not an American, so you can tell by the accent. I'm not an American. I live in the United Kingdom. I watch the games. I've been following the NFL for a very long time. And for some of you who've watched some of my content, you may have seen. So my prediction, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, first of all, so let me declare that. But today I'm going to be talking across the NFL game, and this is my view on how I think that the games is going to go. And I haven't been far off in terms of my prediction, and I'll also tell you why exactly I think that certain teams would win as well. Like before I go any further, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button as well. Subscribe to the channel. Also put a comment in. Let me know where you're actually watching this from because I am interested to know who watches this, where they're watching it from. Are you also in the United Kingdom like myself, watching the NFL games that are always very, very late for us in the United Kingdom? Or, you were, in the States, where you actually watch the games and you enjoyed the games, just like I do. So I'm hoping that you can tell me exactly what I'm doing well with this and not doing very well. So I'm just trying to get the software up and running. So let's see. Right now, I don't know exactly what's going on, whether it's actually working or not. But if it is working, if you put a like button, that would tell me that you can hear me. If you can hear me, please put a like button as well, just so I know. So I don't end up spending about 20 something odd minutes, and find out that I've been talking to myself. So help me out there. Right. Okay. So let's get into it. And for those of you that stick to the end, I do have an analysis on who from the NFC is actually going to get to the NFL, to saying the NFL, who's actually going to get to the Super Bowl. And it might not be exactly who you think. I am a Dallas Cowboy fan, so don't think it's Dallas Cowboys. It is another team, and I'll tell you the reason why I think that that team is going to make it and to the big dance, as it were. There are some good games as well. Some teams are on bye as we start to get to that in November, December, and time in the NFL where things start to get pretty serious. So, just looking at my notes now, and so welcome again. Let's start off with what I believe the NFL fixtures for this week. Start out with the Bengals versus the Ravens. And these are two teams, one sitting at 5-4, the other sitting at 7-3, I believe. As AFC North division clash that could shape the division standings. Whoever wins is going to have an advantage. There's no question about that. Who am I leaning towards? For this game, probably leaning towards the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Even though I will not be completely surprised if the Bengals win this one. Both teams are coming back from a very, very difficult loss. Both teams should have won that game. The Ravens were actually leading by double digits going into the fourth quarter, and they still lost the game against the Browns. The Bengals lost the game, but CJ Stroud magic. I just, people are sleeping on that dude. I think the Texans are sneaky. They're going about their business. Just collecting the wins. They're not on prime time, so nobody really sees what they're doing. but they're actually a team to be reckoned with. And if you actually watch their games, this CJ Stroud is the business. So just watch out for the Texans. That's all I'm gonna say. But I think in this game, I am gonna go with the Bengals. Bengals to win this game. No, I said Ravens. Ravens to win this game. Now let's talk about the other tough game, AFC clash, the Steelers versus the Brown. These are really, really good defenses. The Brown have got Miles Garrett. Steelers have got, JJ Watts, in there. Listen, I think that this is going to be one of those low scoring games. It's going to be one of those games that might end up, let me see, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, so 7-7-14. It could be 17. It could be one of those games like 17 or something like that. Or, I don't expect this game to hit the 20s. So if you're if you've Steelers players or Browns players in your fantasy, you might want to pull them out in this game because I don't expect this to be the one of a high scoring one. So defenses, I want to go with the Browns. I know that Deshaun Watson has just lost the season. He's out for the season. And, Mike Tomlin always finds a way to win. But I think the Browns might take this one. So I'm going to go with the Browns. Bears, Lions. Bears, sorry, team. I know they won their last game against the Panthers, which again is another, sorry team. The Lions, listen, don't say it too loud, but I think, the Lions have only lost maybe two games this season. And they've actually beaten the Chiefs, beaten the Bills. So, listen, I am worried about the Lions. And maybe I need to do some, more analysis on the Lions and see, where they're going to shape off till the end of the season. So, but I thought the Lions are going to take this one. Chargers, Packers. I'm gonna go with the Chargers for this one. Justin Herbert. I expect him to win that game. This is gonna be another learning game for Jordan Love. I expect him to do well next season. This season come too early for him to do something. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers in this one. Cardinals versus the Texans. I've already said high praise about the Texans. I know that Kyler Murray is back. However, I don't think he's going to be able to stop this CJ Stroud train that is coming. CJ Stroud is going to take this one. I'm going to go with the Texans to win this game. Titans versus the Jaguars. I would say Titans because of Derrick Henry. However, I predicted the Titans to win in the last game. They let me down. I think the Jaguars are going to bounce back, after such a tough loss against the 49ers. Sometimes, when a team is actually gets pummeled the way that the Jaguars got pummeled, they have to have a reaction. It's just, for the Titans are catching the Jaguars at a very bad time. Jaguars to win this one might be close, but I expect Jaguars to win this one. So Jaguars wins this game for me. Raiders, Dolphins. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. Is there anyone that's gonna pick the Raiders? Actually, gonna pick the Raiders? I don't even know what pick'em looks like. What the percentage is, but I imagine that that's heavily, heavily favoring the Dolphins. So Dolphins for me in this game. Now this is a tough one. Buccaneers versus the 49ers. Um, I would normally say that giving the edge to Buccaneers in a different season, but I'm not silly. The 49ers are back on a roll. I hate it, but they're one of the teams that I'm going to be doing an analysis for, and I'll tell you why I don't think they're going to lose this game. So I'm going to go with the 49ers to edge the Buccaneers in this game and win that one. Big, 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 big. Before I talk about this big one, the Eagles versus the Chiefs, let's talk about the Cowboys versus the Panthers. Now, the Cowboys have lost all the teams that they've lost to have been away from home. They are invincible at the AT&T Stadium. This is not the AT&T Stadium. This is a team that they are supposed to beat, but we also saw this against the Cardinals, and yeah, the Cowboys didn't do very well. I expect a completely different game this time around. I expect the Cowboys to beat the Panthers. So Cowboys, do not let me down. Right? No, do not let me down. If you stumble upon this channel somewhere in the ether, in the YouTube, please jump on it. Hit a like button. Also subscribe to the channel, and don't let me be talking to myself. And because this is crazy, right? If I'm just talking to myself, it's crazy. So support the channel. Thank you to all my subscribers and those that keep coming back for the content, as well as I'm trying to figure out this YouTube thing. Now, the big one is the Eagles versus the Chiefs. Now, this is the rematch from the last Super Bowl. Now, this game, is going to tell a lot of things. The team that wins this game is going to get so much confidence. Now, if you look at both teams, I think if you're being very objective, you're going to have to say that the Eagles is going to have to win this game. Now, I know that Mahomes is a magician. He's out of this world. He's an alien. Everything that you can think about, he is. But they don't have enough weapons in the Chiefs. They got Travis Kelsey, and he's good. He's the equivalent of like two or three players. But you look at the Eagles, and they've got AJ Brown, they've got Devante, Deontay Smith, they've got. I just don't. I mean, Goddard is injured, so he's not going to play this game. But the Eagles are just a better team. They've got a better talent. Now, I expect that the Chiefs are going to use coaching. If they win this game, it's going to be about coaching. They're going to spring up something that, no one has expected. The defense for the Chiefs are actually very good. And this is probably the first time that Mahomes is going to be playing with a top three, top four defense. I think by the time last time I looked at it, I think they were in the top five in terms of the defense. And, you know, the Eagles couldn't beat the Chiefs even when they didn't have such a good defense. Jalen Hurts is not playing very well, considering that he was playing astronomically well in the last season in the Super Bowl. He's not playing that well, but the team has been getting wins. Now, I have a sneaky feeling the Eagles will win this one. I think it's a revenge game, and despite all I've said, I it hurts to say as a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I think the Eagles is gonna win this one. So, what does that actually mean? I think this is that time of the season where, excuse me, teams start to define their destiny, right? Every so often, and there's an air of predictability about certain things. I think that from this week onwards, we're gonna have some really, really crazy results. And if you're a team that is hoping, to get to the big dance, you really don't want to be, losing games at this time of the season. So I think yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Now, for those of you who are still around, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and put a comment as well. Let me know where you're watching this from, as well. So I did say to you that if you stay to the end, I did some analysis on the team that I think is gonna get to the Super Bowl from the NFC. Now, the two teams that I'm gonna be looking at are the 49ers and also the Eagles. And I mean, they arguably you could say they're the one and two teams right now in the NFC. I think most people would say that. So I've done a little look at the 49ers, team. So right now, they're standing at 6-3. They lost three games before they came back and absolutely stomped the Jaguars. They've claimed victories against Rams, Giants, Cardinals, Cowboys, and they've had some setbacks against, if you notice, AFC teams, against the Browns, the Bengals, and the Vikings. Now, in terms of, you know, historical context, 49ers, they always have a rich history. They've gone into the playoffs, every single season. I think, their season is going to be determined by a couple of games that they are yet to play, in which is going to make and break them, because now they have very little margin for error, right? If they want to be that team that's gonna make it to the Super Bowl. Now the remaining fixtures is the Bucks. They've got the Bucks next. Then they play the Seahawks, play the Eagles, play the Seahawks again, Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, and Rams. Now these are not very easy fixtures. Now the three teams that I think are gonna pose problems, for the 49ers are the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Seahawks. And the reason why I say the Seahawks is because the way that the fixtures, have been scheduled is that they play the Seahawks, play the Eagles, and then play the Seahawks almost immediately. Now, all this is happening within a 3 week span. It's very difficult to beat teams like that in such close proximity. I know the Eagles have kind of done it with the Commanders, but I think that the Seahawks are a much better team than the Commanders, and they're going to actually give the 49ers a fright. Now, the 49ers cannot afford to lose more than one game, and that's potentially at least three. I mean, we're talking about Seahawks, Eagles, and the Ravens. And you know how the Ravens absolutely own NFC teams. Like, if you don't believe me, go and look at the record. I think they're almost near invincible against NFC teams, and they stomped the Seahawks the last time that they played the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are a good team. So if the 49ers, I think they're going to lose at least two more games. I don't know if they're going to lose against the Eagles, but I think they're going to lose against the Ravens and potentially one of those games against the Seahawks. Now, if they do that, that puts them on the five loss in their record, and this is why the next team that I'm going to be talking about is a team that I think is going to make it all the way into the Super Bowl, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, as a Dallas Cowboys, this is absolutely sickening for me. Absolutely sickening for me. But listen, I have to look at the analysis and see what it's telling me. They fared well against division rivals. They haven't lost in the division. So you always need to win your division to start off with. And every single team that they've played in the division, they've won, right? Including the Dallas Cowboys. And that's painful, right? Then against conference opponents, they've also won as well. Now, the loss to the New York Jets in week 6, which raised some questions about their consistency. And you might think, well, how are they going to fare against teams that are a little bit, lower than them in terms of superiority or standings? Now, in terms of their upcoming fixtures, you've got the Chiefs, you've got the Bills, San Fran, Dallas, Seahawks. Now, that's a stretch of games that is very difficult, I believe, for the Eagles. But somehow they always find, a way to win, right? Way to win. So, I mean, I don't see them losing too many games. And, if you're expecting them to lose, three out of their next one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, you know, game when they haven't lost, they've lost their last nine, to lose three out of their last eight doesn't seem very, very likely. So, um, it's going to be difficult, and they win tight games. Look at the game against the Cowboys. It was a three points game. You look at the game against Washington, one score game. Okay, Miami, they actually proved the point against Miami, absolutely trumped them. The Jets, again, one score game. They played the Rams, and that game was close, pretty close. You could say one score game as well. When they played the Washington, that went into overtime, right? So then you've got Tampa Bay, you've got the Vikings, got New England. Listen, I think that the Eagles are gonna make it to the Super Bowl. The path for them is so clear. And listen, you have to stack up wins, and they've stacked up wins. They've stacked up wins. They're 8-1. I expect them to win at least another two, three games. which would put them at 11 games. You win 11 games, you're going to make it to the playoffs, considering the way that, the NFC is. So for them, it's all about the number one seed. And I think that's their focus. Will they get it? I think they should. It should be a massive, massive disappointment if they don't get it. So I was going to keep this to half an hour as a minimum, but those are my predictions. For week 11 of the NFL. Sunday night football is tonight. So, who, why am I going to stay up to watch it? Because it's pretty late for us in the United Kingdom. That game kicks off about, say, past one. So I don't know if I'm actually going to stay up to watch it, but I might watch maybe the first half before I go to bed. And then, the Eagles and the Chiefs, that's a big game. So I'm going to try and see if I'm going to stay up for that. But if you like the content, if you like what I do, hit the subscribe button. I also have a video that I talked about Kirk Cousins. If you want to check that out as well, and why Dak Prescott will never win the MVP as well. You want to check that video out, and hit a like and subscribe on this as well. I will come back and talk about the Cowboys a little bit, maybe just before the game on Sunday. Do a little bit of a focus on the Cowboys, for all our Cowboy fans as well. But if you're in United Kingdom and you support a team, let me know which team that you support, and if you want me to do some research and do some, my view on a particular team, or how I think a team is going to perform in the upcoming fixtures, just put that in the comments as well. And I'll do my best to do this as well. Love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.